through Zoom and live through Facebook to hear from our today's sessions speakers on the topic of human rights, peace, resilience, and economic situation of Afghanistan. Well, they will share their valuable thoughts and experiences on the topic, and also the audience can express their views or ask at the end of the session. Before that, let me give you some information on the SAARC Youth Platform. The SAARC Youth Platform is the successor organization to the South Asian Regional Youth Conference on post-2015 development agenda that was held in 2014 in Lahore, where the Lahore Youth Charter of Demands was produced. It serves as an umbrella network for youth-led organizations in Asia and provides a platform for their voices on topics important to them and the region. In addition, we engage our members in the work of SAARC and other relevant institutions and partners at the national, regional, and global level that focus on or live implications for South Asia. We are a platform for young people in South Asia for matters important to them and the region. We enable meaningful engage our members in the work of young people in South Asia and the region. I think I'm here.
Yes, you are clear. You are clear. Please continue.
Okay. We enable meaningful engagement in the work of SAARC South Asia Association for Regional Cooperation and relevant national, regional, and global avenues. Also, we prescribe to collective principle of solidarity, justice, equity, inclusion, diversity, human rights, and the integrity of the planet. Our membership is open to any youth-led and organizations and young person as a participant at the regional, sub-regional, national, and local levels that work in the South Asia region. Therefore, we seek to build a sustainable world where the human rights of all people are realized. They are meaningfully engaged in decision-making at all levels, and all life can thrive within planetary boundaries. So thank you so much for your attention and bearing me. Now I would like to hand over to Mr. Izhar al-Haq Fazli, who is the SAARC Youth Platform co-focal point for Afghanistan to moderate our today's panel. Over to you, Fazli Seb. Fazli Seb, if you can hear us. Can you hear us, Fazli Seb?
I think Mr. Fazli has been disconnected.
Okay, I can go ahead with the session. As we already choose the topic of youth and human rights, peace, resilience, and economic situation of Afghanistan, which are the hot topics that we will be discussing today, and we will be benefiting from the expertise and the experiences and the knowledge of our distinguished speakers. At this moment, I would like to invite Ms. Laila Jafari before handovering to her. She is working as a director of civil society organization at the Ministry of Peace Affairs of Afghanistan. She will be speaking in Dari, but hope we will be clear and hear her. Khanum Jafari, شما میتونین که صحبت‌هایتان
تشکر. من نمیدونم وقتی که من داری صحبت میکنم چطور میشن دوستای دیگه ما نمیدونم ترجمه همزمان دارین یا بعداً ترجمه میکنین نمیفهمم. به هر حال تشکر میکنم. ابتدا عرض سلام دارم به تمام کسانی که صدای مرا میشنون و تصویر مرا دارن. پس آغاز میکنیم به نام خداوند صلح و آشتی. من مجددا سلام و شب بخیر دارم به تمام بزرگوارانی که در این مجلس حاضر اشتراک کردن. جای داره که به نوبه خودم 36مین سال تأسیس سازمان همکاری های منطقه جنوب آسیا سارک را تبریک و شاد باش بگویم و تشکر می کنم که فرصتی در اختیار من گذاشته شده و ما صحبت های خودم را در 3 محور می خواهیم امروز ارائه بدم. موضوع و محور اول صحبت ما این هست که می خواهیم یک آپدیت را بدم که پروسه صلح افغانستان فعلا در کدام وضعیت قرار داره. محور دوم جایگاه حقوق بشر خصوصا حقوق زنان در پروسه صلح و فردای صلح‌آمیز افغانستان چطور خواهد بود است. و محور سوم صحبتم کشورهای جنوب آسیا یا سارک چه نقش را می توانند در پروسه صلح افغانستان ایفا نمایند. امیدوار هستم که وقت رعایت کنم و شما به ما تذکر باز بدین آقای بریال گرامی. من میخوایم بگم که محور اول صحبت های ما مروری است بر وضعیت فعلی پروسه صلح افغانستان. ما یعنی دولت و ملت افغانستان خوشحال هستیم که هیئت مذاکره کننده جمهوری اسلامی افغانستان و هیئت مذاکره کننده طالبان بعد از حدوداً 3 ماه بنبست خوشبختانه بنبست شکسته شد و توافق بالای طرزالعمل کاری برای 2 هیئت مذاکره صورت گرفته و انشاءالله در انتظار آغاز هر چه زودتر مذاکرات صلح بین الافغانی و روی یک میز هستیم. همینطور که شاهد هستین روز شنبه یعنی 3 روز قبل اولین جلسه کمیته رهبری شورای عالی مصالحه ملی افغانستان در ارگ ریاست جمهوری افغانستان دایر گردید. ما این 2 دستاورد را به فال نیک میگیریم و بیشتر خوشبین هستیم که خشونت و جنگ در کشورمان به پایان خود نزدیک شده است انشالله. مردم افغانستان روحیه گرفتن که ما افغان ها میتونیم مشکلات خودمان را با گفتمان سیاسی حل نماییم. ما باور داریم که ختم جنگ افغانستان راهبرد نظامی نداره. بنابراین باور داریم که جنگ جاری در افغانستان جنگ افغان ها نیست و این یک جنگ تحمیلی و خونبار است که زنان، کودکان و افراد ملکی ما تاوان و هزینه بسیار گزاف را طی سالهای اخیر پرداختند. و حالا میرم روی بحث دوم صحبت. من محور دوم صحبتم که میخوایم این را بیشتر باز کنم که جایگاه حقوق بشر خصوصا حقوق زنان در پروسه صلح و فردای صلح‌آمیز افغانستان چگونه خواهد بود، چگونه ترسیم شده از دیدگاه زنان یا زنان چگونه صلحی را میخواهند. دولت افغانستان به عنوان نماینده شهروندان خودش خواهان ترسیم صلح است که حقوق بشر و حقوق شهروندی تمام شهروندانش را تضمین نماید. ما به یقین باور داریم که زنان افغانستان اولین و بزرگترین قربانیان جنگ بودند. اما با تمام این احوال زنان افغانستان نیروی توانا و شجاعی هستند که با روحیه والای وطن دوستی با تمام چالش‌های فراروی خودشان روبرو شده مبارزه مسالمت آمیز داشتند و طی 20 سال پس از طالبان هماره زنان افغانستان برای ختم جنگ و بازسازی افغانستان عزیز دوش مردان و برادران خودشان کار و تلاش کردند. پس از اولویت‌های پروسه صلح افغانستان حمایت و دفاع از حقوق و جایگاه انسانی زنان و قربانیان جنگ در پروسه صلح است. دولت افغانستان یکی از کشورهایی است که قطعنامه 1325 شورای امنیت سازمان ملل متحد را امضا کرده و متحد به رعایت و تطبیق موارد این قطعنامه می باشد که تا اکنون هم دولت در پی تسهیل حضور مشارکتی و معنادار زنان در سیاستگذاری‌های صلح و تمام ساختارهای و دولت و جامعه بوده است. بدون شک دولت افغانستان در پی محو کردن تفکر همیشه قربانی بودن زنان در جنگ و صلح است تا تغییر عمومی در افکار عامه را شاهد باشیم و از توانایی‌های زنان در حل منازعات، ختم خشونت‌ها و اعمار صلح و توسعه افغانستان به نحو احسن و تأثیرگذاری آن بر تصامیم سیاسی و اجتماعی به نحو احسن استفاده شود. لذا در راستای تحقق این دورنما دولت حضور زنان را در 2 بخش مهم و حیاتی تعهد و اجرایی کرده است. 1. حضور زنان در ساختار هیئت مذاکره کننده صلح جمهوری اسلامی افغانستان. 2. حقوق زنان به عنوان موضوع در مذاکرات صلح. ما 4 زن را در تیم هیئت مذاکره کننده دولت جمهوری اسلامی افغانستان داریم و همچنین موضوع حقوق بشر و حفظ حقوق و دستاوردهای زنان از آجندای مذاکرات صلح خواهد بود. ما به یقین باور داریم که صلح عادلانه، همشمول و پایدار بدون حضور 50% شهروندان یعنی زنان افغانستان ممکن نیست. وزارت دولت در امور صلح به عنوان دارالانشای پروسه صلح افغانستان دارای ساختاری تحت عنوان معینیت حقوق بشر و جامعه مدنی می باشد تا زمینه ساز هرچه منسجمتر و واحدسازی صدای زنان و قربانیان جنگ در دوران قبل از مذاکرات صلح، دوران مذاکرات صلح و دوران تطبیق توافقنامه صلح باشد. ما برای رسیدن موفقانه در تمام این مراحل ابتدا به اجماع داخلی ضرورت داریم که حضور زنان از جمله بخش مهم اجماع داخلی برای صلح است که این وزارت صلح تمثیل میکنه انشاءالله. بدون شک زن امروز افغانستان در سطح 34 ولایت افغانستان حق دارد که در امنیت، آرامش با دیدگاه شهروند محوری زندگی کند. روایت زنان و دختران افغانستان از صلح همانا توقف هرچه زودتر و عاجلتر خشونت‌ها و اعلام آتش بس از سوی طالبان می باشد. زنان افغان صلحی را می خواهند که دیگر هیچ زنی داغ از دست دادن پدر، برادر، شوهر و پسرانش را در جنگ نبیند. زنان کشور ما خواهان باز بودن درب مکاتب در دورترین قریه ها بروی دختران و پسرانشان می باشند. ایمن بودن از خشونت ها از سطح خانواده تا اجتماع، زمینه کسب تحصیلات عالیه، داشتن حق کار، حق مشارکت اجتماعی و سیاسی و به دست آوردن حقوقی که در قانون اساسی افغانستان برای شهروندان تعیین شده است، ایره زنان افغانستان در فردای صلح‌آمیز افغانستان خواهان هستند. در نهایت مردم شریف افغانستان حق دارند که به خدمات صحی با کیفیت، امنیت روانی و جسمی، اقتصاد پویا و عدالت اجتماعی دسترسی داشته باشند و تمام اقوام افغانستان به صورت مسالمت آمیز با هم در زیر چتر نظام جمهوری اسلامی افغانستان زندگی عزتمندانه داشته باشند. و من بحث خود را میبرم حالا به محور سوم بحث من، نقش کشورهای جنوب آسیا سارک در پروسه صلح افغانستان است. ما باورمند هستیم که صلح پایدار در افغانستان مشروط بر اتصال اقتصادی و اجماع منطقوی همشمول می باشد. 1. بنابراین کشورهای عضو سازمان سارک از تحقق اجماع منطقوی حمایت کنند در مشورت با دولت افغانستان. 2. جنگ و راهبرد نظامی به نفع هیچ کشور عضو سازمان سارک نیست. جنگ تحمیلی بر افغانستان عواقب ناگوار اقتصادی و امنیتی برای این منطقه به وجود آورده است. لذا ایجاد منافع مشترک اقتصادی و امنیتی کشورهای عضو سازمان سارک می تواند تسهیل بخش روند صلح افغانستان باشد. 3. تشویق نمودن گروه طالبان به صلح و دست برداشتن از خشونت. 4. همچنین شریکسازی تجارب و یافته‌های ختم جنگ و صلح کشورهایی چون کشور نپال و سریلانکا که ما به این دو کشور سفر کردیم، مطالعه کردیم بحث ختم جنگ و صلحشان را و خوشحال هستم که همچنان صلح در این دو کشور پایدار هست و ما می‌خواهیم که از تجربیات این دو کشور و کشورهای دیگه‌ای که در منطقه و عضو سازمان سارک هستند ما مستفید شویم تا استفاده کنیم از تجربیاتشان. 5. حمایت از ارزش‌های حقوق بشری، حقوق زنان، آزادی بیان و اقلیت‌های قومی در افغانستان. 6. صلح در افغانستان باعث پیشرفت توسعه و صلح منطقه می‌گردد. گزینه آخری که سعادت افغان‌ها باورمند باشیم که سعادت افغانها سعادت منطقه است. و من تشکر میکنم از توجه شما به صحبت‌های من. زنده باد افغانستان واحد، یک پارچه، مستقل و صلح‌آمیز. تشکر.
تشکر یک جان خانم جعفری از صحبت‌های همه‌جانبیتان. باید یادآور شیم که فی فیسبوک صفحه رسمی سارک یوت پلتفرم هم به نشر میرسه. ممکن در جریان سشن ما سوالاتی هم از دوستان داشته باشیم. امروز
بسیار خوب. من در خدمتتان هستم. تشکر.
We are very excited to have Mr. Inayat Safai, our next speaker. Thank you. We are very excited to have Mr. Inayat Safai as
Fazli Seb, can I jump in here?
our next speaker. Before he started, Inayat Safai is currently working Deputy Office of the President. Recently, he was a youth program, a nationwide youth development and empowerment of the Youth for Change and Development organizations. Work in different national and international organizations focusing on leadership and management. Yes, you can go ahead. He was a member of the National Youth Policy Formulation in Afghanistan, and a member of the Youth Charter for the SAARC Youth Association. Mr. Inayat participated in several international and global conferences and seminars as a speaker, panelist, and participant. Mr. Inayat has received his bachelor degree in political science from the Carbon University in 2014 and master degree in political marketing from the Rome Business School in 2017. As well, he received a certificate in global diplomacy from the University of London in 2020. Fortunately, Mr. Inayat Safai has received a number of awards, including the award of outstanding achievement in the field of leadership.
We are sorry for the interruption in the internet connection. I would like to briefly introduce Mr. Inayat Safai. He's can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay, sorry for the internet connection problem with Mr. Fazli. Inayat Safai is our next speaker. He's working as a political specialist with the Office of the Strategic and of the President Office. Previously, he was working with Counterpart International Organization. Apart from that, he received his bachelor in the political science from Cardone University, and apart from that, he received his master's degree from Rome Model University in Italy. And he's a young activist. He received 40 under 40 Cardone Leadership Award from Cardone University. So we would like to give him the floor to express his views regarding the role of youth in peace process, and how youth can play a vital role in the development of the country. Over to you, Mr. Safi.
Thank you very much for inviting me to this panel. And also, I would like to welcome all the guests and participants who are now watching us through this live webinar. And thanks also to the SAARC Youth Platform for arranging such kind of useful workshops, useful seminars, and useful platform, and not only to the youth of Afghanistan, but to the youth of the rest of the world, and especially to the South Asian nations. The role of young people is very clear in peace and other development activities. In Afghanistan, we are having young people who are making over 60% of the population, which is the vast majority of Afghan population. Therefore, young people have the power to transform our communities, societies, our country, and the world. They are an important source of creativity and drivers of social changes in the country. Today's generation of youth has very been excluded from national and global efforts to prevent and resolve conflict, contrary to the Security Council Resolution 2250, stating that building peaceful, cohesive, and resilient societies requires the full and meaningful participation of young people. The United Nations also urge on all young people to be part of different decision-making processes, not only on national level, but on international level as well. They should be active participants, not passive beneficiaries. Unfortunately, in Afghanistan, which has been hurt so much and so long, but youth progress, resilience, and aspiration have kept them focused to work for a better, peaceful, and prosperous future. 2/3 of the Afghan population is young people. The young generation of Afghanistan has been the main drive of many successes in the last 18 years. Media is an illustrative example. In addition, Afghan youth have been playing an important role in bringing national unity that has a direct positive effect on peace processes. One thing that I would like to mention about the young people in Afghanistan, until we do not dry the roots of all discrimination, justice and lasting peace will not be maintained. We are sure that Afghanistan will never go backward, since there are thousands of like-minded young people who are hopeful and committed to make their country with their own hands. Apart from this, we can see that today's generation of youth are seriously concerned about their future as the main victims of imposed war on our country. They hold that as an influential generation, they have a historical and momentous responsibility regarding coming up generation. Hence, peace talks are regarded as the future of Afghanistan and youth generation. And therefore, the United Nations Security Council, once again, I would like to mention this, that they stated in the resolution 2250 that urges member states to consider ways to give youth a greater voice in decision-making at the local, national, regional, and international level. And this is, we say this is must be enforced in the Afghan peace talks as well. Apart from this, youth should be actively engaged by themselves as well in shaping a lasting peace and contributing to justice and reconciliation. In addition, it has been stated in Afghanistan National Youth Policy that lasting peace and security are the most important needs of the people of Afghanistan, and young people can play an important role in bringing peace and security in the country. To conclude, if we want lasting and sustainable peace, we can no longer afford to leave youth behind. We must listen to and work with them. Yes, Mr. Baryal.
Fazli Seb wanted to say something. Fazli Seb, can you hear us? Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Inayat Safi. Yeah, youth can play a vital role in the development agenda, and they can play a vital role in the peace process towards a prosperous and delighted Afghanistan. And yeah, we need to work day and night to bring peace to our country. And 65% of the population of Afghanistan consists of young people. So yeah, as you said, we need to be optimistic towards the peace process and the peace development in the country. Thank you. At this time, lots of viewers are asking questions as well through Facebook channel as well. So we will get the questions at the end of the session. But now I would like to introduce Mr. Shoaib Ahmed Rahim. Shoaib Ahmed Rahim is the development practitioner, researcher, and assistant professor of economics. He has earned an MBA degree in finance from Institute of Management Science of Pakistan and degree in development economics from University of Sussex, England. He has worked as a development practitioner in Afghanistan for over a decade and has had the privilege to work in key areas, including private sector development, financial sector reforms, economic growth, agriculture, mining, and rural development. As a regular contributor, his work about the economy of Afghanistan and the political economy of the region has been published in English, Hindi, Pashto, Dari, and Russian languages. I would like to give him the floor to discuss about the economic situation of Afghanistan and how it impacted on COVID-19 and what were the challenges and opportunities. And he will also touch upon the Geneva Conference in Afghanistan and how we can play, like our citizens can play a vital role that to make the government accountable and how to avoid the corruption, maybe like those funds we are receiving from the international community. Over to you, Mr. Rahim. You are muted.
Can you hear?
You are muted, Rahim.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, very well, clearly.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm glad to be part of this prestigious event organized by SAARC Youth Forum, people like Baryal and his team for doing a wonderful job in conveying Afghan voices to the region and beyond. Once again, thank you very much, and I hope my internet doesn't break down in between. The slow internet and the shortage of electricity supply is an evidence of what we are going through at the moment. This thing might look strange elsewhere in the world, but that's something common in the region where we live, particularly in Afghanistan. And it's our joint responsibility to make our country and the region a better living place. And a platform like SAARC Youth Forum can play an important role in that. I have a bit longer agenda on hand, but I'll try to.
We lost you, Rahim, if you can hear us.
Yeah, my voice will break down a few seconds when I get back and it over with that. Probably the speed is a problem. Afghanistan, when we talk about Afghanistan, so there are two major issues that we touch upon. There is conflict. We are living in a poor economic circumstances that affects life of citizens in the country. So when we talk about Afghan economy, I'll divide into three different eras. There was an era before COVID-19. There is one we are living in, which is going on, and then there is one beyond.
We lost you again, unfortunately. If you can hear us, just you can maybe switch off your camera. Maybe then your internet connection will be better at that time.
Yeah, thank you. So even before arrival of COVID-19, our economic indicators, they have not been very friendly and very attractive. If we talk about some of the macroeconomic indicators like number of people below poverty line, percentage of people who are unemployed, rate of economic growth, and then I go on to other economic indicators, including the average income of individual trade. About them, there has after 2016, after 2016's Brussels.
We are sorry for the internet connectivity problem. I hope Mr. Rahim will be back soon and he will continue his speech.
Yeah, so it certainly wasn't an attractive scenario for Afghanistan, but there was some kind of hope that it would improve. So in our topic of today's panel discussion, use the word resilience. I think 19 and the arrival of COVID-19 exposed our vulnerability, particularly the economic vulnerability and the capacity of the government to tackle such crisis, which has been rarely seen in the history of the country. The level of COVID-19 exposed our vulnerability, and as such, we have seen that key economic indicators, the trade,
We lost you again, sir.
all have. Yeah, the economic indicators with the arrival of COVID-19 has been affected even further. The economic growth percentage, which was positive, has now gone down to negative figures, and it's expected that for 2020 our economic growth figures based on World Bank data could be around -7%. Imagine what we were going through with the 3% economic growth, and what we might be facing, it is -5% or -7% due to the ongoing pandemic. So of course, this is a challenging situation, and it is still going on. We are witnessing the second wave of COVID-19, and it is a disaster for countries like which are going through already depressed economic indicators. I do believe this is going to end up sometime soon, but at the moment, this is a very troublesome. Touching upon the recent event of Geneva conference, why this is important at this critical juncture when we are going through the COVID-19 pandemic is that there have been commitments, but then there are a lot of conditions and strings connected to it. And those conditions would basically mean that Afghan government has not been able to perform well.
Yes.
The top agenda of Geneva conference was corruption and of government's ability to manage the national fund. I think this 2020 to 2024 is a crucial time for Afghanistan and for the youth. And it is very important that youth platforms come together and ensure how government performs. They can join different entities which are meant for anti-corruption and ensure very effective supervision on government's expenditure on one side. On the other hand, it is very important that at this juncture that peace process is speeded up because we cannot afford any more conflict in Afghanistan.
Yeah, exactly. We lost you again.
In Afghanistan. If there is some progress, if there is significant progress on peace process in Afghanistan, this would play a very important role, for the improvement of economic activity in the country, and this peace here is even more important. I was recently asked by one of the program what would happen if peace progress doesn't proceed effectively. So the thing is that it's going to be disaster. International aid is reducing, we're already in trouble, and peace is the only measure for us that would ensure economic resilience and
Yeah.
Just last point that youth have a role to play in terms of raising their voices for peace, in terms of ensuring that they monitor the activities of government, and then ensuring that the peace process delivers its desired objectives. With that, thank you very much. I'll be glad to take any questions from the audience.
Thank you so much, Rahim Sir, for your valuable speech. And you mentioned two very great points, like COVID-19, in fact, impacted badly on the economic situation of Afghanistan. And then we have on the other side these peace talks, which Afghanistan is dealing with different issues nowadays. But I hope we will have a good outcome and a good result of all these things, and the government will take precautionary measures before the second wave of Corona started and the number increased. And also the international aid, which you mentioned that it will continue from 2021 to 2024. Yeah, exactly. This is a crucial time, and the government of Afghanistan need to prove themselves for the international community that yes, we have now a resilient economy, and we are what are the conditions of the international community. They need to fulfill it in these coming few years. And yeah, as you mentioned at the last point, there should be a policy level group to monitor the government activities closely, that how they can avoid these corruptions whenever it is happening in the country. So thank you so much for that. Now we are going to have the questions from the audience from Facebook, and as well as the audience here who are with us in Zoom. If the audience has any questions to our distinguished speakers, maybe you can unmute yourself and ask your question from the speaker. The floor is yours.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, Mudabbir sir, please go ahead.
Yes, I'm Arif Mudabbir, Peace First Ambassador for Afghanistan. And I have a question first from your guest. It relates to all of the guests and youth expertise in peace building. My question is this: that what is the best mechanism of engaging youths in SAARC countries to bring pressure on their countries, on their political leaders, to just support the peace process in Afghanistan? This is my first question. And the second is related to the Laila Jafari. I want to ask in Persian. صدای مرا داری؟
بله
بله،
بله بله
بفرمایید.
صدای شما
بله.
را میشنویم آقای مدبر، بفرمایید.
بله.
تشکر.
من
بله،
سوال
من میخواستم در مورد
مشکل داره
راهکار وزارت صلح در رابطه با دخیلسازی جوانان در کشورهای سارک، مخصوصا راهکار وزارت صلح بشنوم که چی است، که با چه راهکاری جوانان را مخصوصا جامعه مدنی را در کشورهای سارک دخیل میسازد تا اینکه به رهبرای سیاسی و به رهبرای حکومتیشان مثل رئیس جمهور و نخست وزیرشان فشار بیاره تا اینکه از روند صلح پایدار در افغانستان و صلح با طالبان، توافقنامه صلح با طالبان حمایت شود. تشکر از توجهتان.
تشکر از شما.
بفرمایید لیلا جعفری. اگر
خب من شروع کنم، درست است؟ به خاطر که یک سوالم قبلا پرسیدن مکانیزم سارک، نه او رو کس دیگه جواب میده حتما. خب بسیار خوب، پس من این سوالی که از ما پرسیدن جواب میدم. تشکر میکنم اول از سوالی که شما پرسیدین. سوالتان کمی تخصصی تر هسته. من میخوایم بگم که بدون شک شما حتما در جریان هستین که وزارت دولت در امور صلح، آقای مدبر، یک وزارت تازه تاسیس هست. 1 سال و چند ماهی میشه از تاسیس از وزارت، اما دورنمایی که ترسیم کرده و وظیفه اصلی از این وزارت این هست که زمینه از این فراهم کنه تا که من حیث یک نهاد دولتی درب دولت در پروسه صلح به روی تمام ملت افغانستان باز شود، خصوصا بخش زنان و جوانان. ایره از متعهدات و برنامه‌های بلند مدت وزارت هست. اما شما می‌بینید که ما شاهد شکل‌گیری شورای عالی مصالحه ملی افغانستان هستیم و به نوعی خط یا استراتژی را شورای عالی مصالحه افغانستان به وزارت صلح میده و ما نهاد اجرایی یا دارالانشا هستیم. اما تا فعلا که تا شورای عالی صلح، شورای عالی مصالحه کارهای خود را آغاز نکرده به صورت رسمی از پایتخت تا سطح 34 ولایت، وزارت صلح کارها و برنامه‌های زیاد را در سطح فعلا نشست‌های داخلی انجام داده، در سطح ولایات افغانستان انجام داده، اما تا حال برنامه خاصی را که ریخته شده باشه که چنین پلانی باشه تا جوانها را بخواه ببره یا روبرو بشنه با کشورهای عضو سارک، اینا تجربه ختم جنگ و صلح را دارن، این چنین برنامه ای را هنوز ما به حالت اجرایی در نیاوردیم. اما در برنامه بلند مدت وزارت شما مطمئن باشین که وجود داره. من میخوایم یک تجربه شخصی خود با شما شریک کنم من حیث جوان از این سرزمین که شما هستید. بدون شک افکار عامه تاثیرگذاری بسیار بالایی داره بر ختم خشونت در افغانستان و اینکه گروه طالبان بیایند در آغوش نظام و مردم خود و به سرزمین خود. ولی این باید طوری صورت بگیره که تمام جانبین اینمی صلح را بپذیرند. من خاطره ای که از مردم نپال یاد گرفتم، چیزی که از ما آموختم و من حیث خاطره برای ما شده، ما 2 جانب جنگ را در نپال وقتی دیدیم، باور کنید هر 2 طرف جنگ که خوشبختانه آلاده صلح هستند به ما با افتخار میگفتن که ما بین خودمان صلح کردیم، کسی ما را مجبور به صلح نکرده بود. و این نوع تفکر باعث از این میشه که اینا از صلح خود پاسبانی بکنن و به سوی اعمار صلح بروند. و انشالله ما سوال شما را انتقال میدیم به رهبری وزارت و مطمئن باشین که شما در سطح شورای عالی مصالحه، در سطح دولت افغانستان حتما چنین برنامه‌هایی روی دست خواهد گرفته شد. تشکر میکنم. امیدوارم که جواب ما قناعت بخش بوده باشه.
تشکر از شما. تشکر.
خواهش میکنم.
Tashakkur Khanam Jafari. We have some question in our Facebook page as well. And the question are directed to Mr. Inayat Safi as well as Shoaib Ibrahim Sahibs. Mr. Arizo Sahibzada asked questions and it's directed to Shoaib Ibrahim Sahib. How you see the rule of peace and economic growth of the Afghanistan? So the floor is yours, Ibrahim Sahib.
We do understand the close the more there is peace and stability, opportunities in the country, investment opportunities, and more higher income for the people. It's important more than ever because the last phase of transformational decade 2014 to 2024, and these 4 years are important for us. Our government is that somehow it creates its own revenue sources. So while the international community is getting engaged with COVID on one side, on the other side, we are going through hard times. Peace and stability in Afghanistan could solve our problems to a great deal. People are not investing in Afghanistan because of a lot of people are not working here. A lot of industries are not fixed here. Construction work is not happening. Apart from that, development work is not taking place across the country. So why is it important more than ever is because we don't have any other option left than peace and stability and reconciliation with Taliban on one side, and on the other side, a transparent, equitable expenditure of international by government to ensure that Afghanistan is able to now deliver its Conference 2016 and Geneva Conference 2020 by 2024. So yes, there is close interrelationship and they are needed more than ever.
Thank you so much, Rahim Saib, for your comprehensive answer. If our audience in WhatsApp or in Facebook or Zoom, they have any question, they can direct their questions to our panelists. So our next question is directed to Inayat Safi Saib. Ms. Hamida Wardak asked about a question that how you can consider the role of youth in human rights in Afghanistan. The floor is yours, Safi Saib. Safi Saib, can you please unmute yourself? We are not unable to hear from you.
Do you hear me now?
Yes, clearly and loud.
Okay. As I mentioned before, that young people is the biggest and the vast voice in the Afghan community as a vast majority of the population. They do not only have a crucial role in the human rights, but in the development agenda of the country as well. Wherever there is human rights issues in the country, young people are the bulge or the one who voiced their mind, who did advocacy activities, who did campaigning activities to ensure human rights in Afghanistan is in its own place. And we cannot ignore young people from their dynamic position that they are having in the Afghan community. We believe that if young people are given chance to be part of different decision-making activities and decision-making processes in the country, They will be the one to ensure how best human rights are implemented in Afghanistan. We see them a dynamic force and potential part of the country who can change the country towards the best, prosperous, and developed one. We call upon the government, the international community, the SAARC Youth Platform, and other international organizations that to give chance to Afghan young people to be part of different decision activities, not only in Afghanistan, but in the region, in the global level. And we believe that they are having the ability, the capacity to play an effective role in implementation of human rights globally, to assist the global agenda with the United Nations. So we believe that the young people are having enormous capacity to work for the human rights. And so far that we see young people in the country, they have played their role very clearly in all aspects of life. Hope I'm clear in this regards.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Go ahead, Barial sir.
Hadia Ibrahim Khil from the Zoom chat, she has a question. And Hadia, can you hear us?
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you. Please ask your question.
And I think I'm losing signal already. Do you have my voice?
Yes, we have your voice clearly.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Barial, for giving me the chance to speak. Thank you so much for the eminent presenters, panelists, Mr. Rahim, Ms. Layla. Thank you so much for being here today. My name is Hadia and I'm a social activist. I hold a BA from economics from Kabul University, and as well as I am a GPA Global Peace Ambassador. I had two questions, which is directly referred to Mr. Rahim and Ms. Layla. First, I would like to thank Ms. Layla for her inspirational speech. We're really motivated. We're really inspired. می‌خواستم بسیار زیاد تشکر کنیم. انشالله که سخنان که شما بر ما فرمودید بسیار امیدوار کننده بود. انشالله که آنچه که شما بر ما بیان کردید انشالله روز واقعیت شود. And the question I had was from Mr. Rahim. We had the privilege of working with him and having him in one of our program in Kabul University. Unfortunately, due to recent attacks at Kabul University and the security issues we had, we couldn't make any other program. So the question was, we conducted a survey a few months ago from the youth that how optimistic they are for the upcoming peace talks and how optimistic they are for the peace in Afghanistan. Unfortunately, the survey that we conducted didn't have a good result. Mostly, more than 75% of Afghan youth, which are student and educated at Kabul University, they're not optimistic about it. As a global peace ambassador, someone who's working for youth, someone who has a background for supporting them and giving them motivation for peace, I don't really know how to answer that. I've totally lost the hope and the motivation for them to give them an inspiration for peace. I'm actually asking you to help me. What am I supposed to say for them? Because recently we've actually experienced a terrible nightmare in Kabul University. We lost the most lovely souls in Kabul University. They were innocent and they got killed. But I don't really know how to answer that. I'll be glad if you kindly respond to my concern. Thank you.
Mr. Rahim, if you hear the question clearly, maybe you can respond to her. I think he has connectivity problem. Maybe someone else has any question from our two other speakers, Layla Jafari and Inayat Safed. Maybe they will go first to the question, and as soon as Mr. Rahim back, then he will respond to the question later. We can't hear you at all, sir. We can't hear you, Rahim Sab. If there is any question, you can ask, and then we will come back to Mr. Rahim later on.
Mr. Barial, we have a question on Facebook. The question is directed
Yes, please go ahead.
Nasa Faisal, if he can hear us. The question
Yes,
is
I hear you. I hear you, please.
Thank you, sir. Faisal, the question is asked by our audience, Muhib Rahman. And he asks, what is the role of civil society in the peace process? Now, unfortunately, the role is very weak, and how we can make the government to involve the civil society in this process.
Okay, thank you very much. This is really a nice question, and the international community also insists on the role of civil society in the peace dialogues and peace negotiations. The role of civil society in the peace processes is very clear, very crucial. No one can ignore their dynamic role in the peace processes. We are hoping the government will include the civil society by giving them a big part in the negotiation. For now, we see that the political parties and their representatives are being participated in the peace processes, in the peace negotiations, especially in Doha. We are hoping that the civil society representations must be there, and they will be given chance to be part of the fate that they are determining for Afghanistan in the future in the future arena. So the civil society, they themselves had did a lot of advocacy inside Afghanistan and outside Afghanistan to become part of the peace processes. But unfortunately, since we see the history of Afghanistan and specifically the near history from 40 years, which is in the hands of some of those people who had political parties. They dominated the current situation as well in most aspects. They are the one to be determining our fate, which is wrong, which is not according to the demands of the people in Afghanistan. I am hoping the civil society should bring a vast coordination among themselves, and finally they should come with a one voice to ensure that civil society is now part of the upcoming peace talks and peace processes. No one can ignore their role, their biggest role. But unfortunately, in the current situation, our civil society is also split with different pieces in Afghanistan, and they are not coordinating among themselves. Whenever they are coordinated, whenever they bring a coordination body among themselves, I'm sure that they will be given biggest part in the civil society in the peace processes, not only in the peace negotiation talks, but in different decision-making activities. And the government of Afghanistan is committed to bring civil society to the developing agendas in Afghanistan. This is what we are thinking about civil society and the role they are having in playing in the future of Afghanistan as well.
Thank you so much, Inasef, for a very clear and comprehensive answer. But also we have, we'll take another last question from Ms. Nazia. She is in our Zoom touch. She will directly ask her question, then we'll go for the next agenda. Ms. If you can hear, as you can direct your questions.
Hello and good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Mr. Shoaib Rahim, Ms. Laila Ibrahimi, and Mr. Renais Safi for joining us tonight. My question is not specific to anyone. Anyone can answer it. As we all know, that track to diplomacy is very common for the building relationship and networking among the countries, especially now when we in Afghanistan, we are at the stage of peace negotiation. What do you think, how these regional organization can help us to build good relations with the other countries, especially with Pakistan and Iran and other countries who are involved in the peace process and can help us with our peace negotiations in different aspects? How we can strengthen this track to diplomacy and how it can be helpful for Afghanistan?
Yeah, should I chip in? Since I missed the last question, I would like to continue with this one. Hello,
Rahim Saib, we can't hear you clearly, unfortunately.
Okay, then I leave it to Safai to answer if it's not clear enough.
Okay, thank you. Maybe Laila Jafari or Inayat Safi will have something to answer this question. Can you please unmute yourself? And then...
Yes, I unmuted. First of all, I will just comment on the most frustration of Ms. Hadia that she has asked in the beginning about her frustration about the future of Afghanistan, about the future of peace, and what will be happen next. I would tell her that please do not lose hope. We are hoping for the best in the coming future, inshallah. And the young people who are educated, who are now know their bad and right, their good and bad. So we are having all of them, and hopefully we will have a very good future, a prosperous future. So you should not lose hope, and we have to keep up with our hope. The question Ms. Nazia Nouri has asked about the strategic relation with our neighboring countries after peace and during the peace. Sure, yes, this is a very crucial element of the peace processes in Afghanistan. If we are thinking to have a lasting peace in the country, we have to have very close, very good, and very positive relation with our neighboring countries, with Pakistan, Iran, China, and other Central Asian countries. And without good relation with our neighboring countries, our peace will always be fragile, and we will not have a lasting peace in the country. So in order to establish this kind of relation, we need a strong diplomatic mission abroad. Without strong and effective diplomacy, yes, we all will be fail, and we will not be able to maintain our relation with the foreign countries, with our neighboring countries, in the interest of Afghanistan. We have to keep our interest in our diplomacy. We have to keep our interest in national values in all our public relation and international relations with our neighboring countries. And without their relations, without having good relation with those countries that Ms. Nazia Nouri has mentioned them, we will not have a long-term peace in the country. It will always be a fragile peace. We will have for short term, but not for long term. Yes, this is the very most effective point that the peace negotiation teams, the Afghanistan government, the international community who are supporting the country and the agenda, development agenda in our country, they have to keep in mind that the Afghanistan government must have positive and good relation with their neighbor countries. And without this positive relation, definitely we will be in trouble again, like we have seen in the history in the past that the Afghan government has cut their positive relation with our country. We saw the result and the consequences that what happened to Afghanistan. We only faced 40 years war in the country. They send their spy to the country. They start a very imposed and meaningless war in the country. Million of Afghans has been killed in this war. And if we continue like this, definitely we will be having more. This is a very dynamic issue, and the Afghan government should focus on this and to maintain this relation with the neighboring countries in the meaning of keeping the national interest and its place with a very strong diplomacy and good relation.
اگر اجازه شود در تکمیل صحبت‌های شما آقای صافی یک موضوع ما بخواد جواب خانم نازیه اگر بگم این هست که بله بدون شک دولت‌ها با دولت‌ها دیپلماسی میکنن در این مورد، در بحث اینکه جنگ ختم شود و صلح بیاید و منافع مشترک ایجاد شود. اما ما میخوایم در همین عرصه حتی میخوایم بگیم بحث همون دیپلماسی عمومی را باشه یا روابطی که فراتر از دیپلماسی دولت‌ها باشه، این از زنان، جوانان، نهادهای جامعه مدنی در عصر حاضر میتونن از همون دیپلماسی فرهنگی و استفاده از شبکه‌های اجتماعی میتونه یک تاثیر خیلی خوبی را بر افکار عامه، یعنی ملت ها میخوایم بگم بگذاره و در پی نزدیکی ملت ها شویم، بدون شک باز تاثیر خواهد داشت بر امو سیاست دولت ها انشالله. بدون شک افغانستان کشوری هست که همیشه نگاه نیک و همسایگان خود داره، در پی ایجاد روابط نیک دیپلماتیک هست. اما انشالله در پی ازی هستیم و در آرزوی ازی هستیم که کشورهای خصوصا همسایه ما در بخش سیاست‌های اعلامی تا اعمالی خود همه را به نوعی با ما صادقانه باشه و تضاد نداشته باشه که سیاست‌های خود را یک رقم اعلام میکنن ولی وقتی زمانی باز اعمال میرسه اونا به نوعی دیگری رفتار میکنن. در این قسمت جوانان، نهادهای مدنی، زنان بسیار میتونن نقش برازنده‌ای داشته باشن در نزدیکی ملت‌ها و اینکه خصوصا کشورهایی که ما با او فرهنگ و مشترکات زیادی داریم. تشکر.
تشکر خانم جعفری. Thank you so much, Safai Saib. Now I'm going to hand over.
Yeah, thank you so much, Fazli Saib. As mentioned by our speakers, yeah, we need to have a regional cooperation and collaboration with our neighbor countries, especially the SAARC countries who are part of this cooperation team. And yes, if we wanted to have a strong relation, we need to have a strong representation of Afghanistan in other countries, as Mr. Safi mentioned, to have a young, like talented diplomats who will represent and defend the country in a right way. So I think we are almost at the end of the session. At the last, I would like to say that the purpose of this national event was to gather and to write and report and to present it at the international webinar on the occasion of 36th International Day of SAARC Charter, which they will be celebrating tomorrow, and all the SAARC countries representative will be there. We wanted to collect the information and the views of young people to incorporate it and present it there at tomorrow's session. So once again, I would like to thank you all for joining us, for bearing with us, and sorry for the internet connection problem. So I wish you all the best and hope to see you soon, maybe in another events, in another virtual events. Have a great evening.
سلام مجدد آقای بریال
بفرمایید.
تشکر ازتون.
سوالشان تازه یادشان آمده.
نه خیلی منتظر نوبت بودیم.
خب معذرت میخوایم. پس بفرمایید، چون آقای بریال جمع کردن برنامه را. بفرمایید خواهر نازنین.
سلام مجدد. باز هم I'm glad to be part of this SAARC conference, and I have a question about the achievement, women achievement, and will be preserved. What's the grant is there that achievement of 2 decades will be preserved? And another question from Miss Laila Jafari. خانم لیلا جعفری، سوالم از شما این است که
در مورد دستاوردهای زنان گفتین یا نه؟
و سوال که چی تضمینی را گفتم وجود داره که حالا هیچ سوال 2 دهه
متوجه شدم. بله.
و در تقریبا 2 هفته بعد ماه 3 است قرار است که این نشست که در وجود داره. هنوز به نتیجه نرسیدیم. هنوز خشونت ها بیشتر و بیشتر شده رسیدن و روند صلح به کجا خواهد رسید و 5000 زندانی به افغانستان، حکومت افغانستان آزاد ساختن، ولی هنوز هم خشونت ها بلند شد، زیادتر شد و فعلا قرار 7000 دیگه از اینا را آزاد بسازد. افغانستان به کجا خواهد رسید؟ ممنون.
تشکر خواهر نازنین. تشکر از اینکه شما به عنوان یک زن افغان، یک دختری از نسل جوان، این دغدغه و نگرانی را دارین و باید نگران باشید. همه ما باید نگران باشیم در پروسه صلح تا بتانیم به گفته خودتان دستاوردهای 20 سال اخیر زنان که به قیمت هزاران قربانی زن و مرد و نیروهای نظامی ما بوده، امروز من و شما نشستیم از سیاست، از صلح، از مشارکت، از حقوق زنان و حقوق بشر وقتی میگوییم، این دستاوردها آسان به وجود به دست نیامده. اما ما میخوایم برای شما بگم فقط خود مردم افغانستان، فقط ما زنان و مردان افغانستان میتونیم تضمین کننده دستاوردهای 20 سال اخیرمان که دستاوردهای انسانی و حقوق اساسی ما هست. ما خودمان میتونیم تضمین کننده باشیم. هیچ کسی و هیچ جایی و هیچ کشور دیگه تضمین نمیکنه و بر او اعتماد نیست. ما ایره میخوایم صادقانه همراهتان میخوایم بگم. ما چون کسی از جنس و درد شما هستم. و در قسمت مذاکرات صلح ما میخوایم خواهر نازنینم و هر بزرگوار دیگه‌ای که صدای مرا میشنوه، ما میخوایم برایشان بگم 40 سال جنگ در افغانستان و خصوصا 20 سال اخیر جنگ خونباری که همکنون در جریان هست، ما نباید توقعی از این را داشته باشیم که یک شبه این جنگ ختم شود. باور کنید آرزوی همه ما هست که دیگر هیچ فقط نه تنها صدای فیر تفنگ و انتحار نباشه، بلکه درب مکتب در دورترین قریه افغانستان، امکانات رفاهی افغانستان، زندگی، شغل برای تک تک شهروندان افغانستان باید وجود داشته باشه. اما این راه آسان نیست. این راه هنوز قربانی نیاز داره، ولی این قربانی به معنی از دست دادن و قربانی کردن ارزش‌های انسانی ما نمی باشد. این قربانی از جمله ازی است که ما باید حوصله و تحمل داشته باشیم. ما باید بسیج عمومی و مردمی را راه اندازی کنیم. ما باید در این مسیر صلح طالبانی که در افغانستان و خانوادهایی که زیر نفوذ طالبان هستند را باید با خود هم صدا کنیم. باید ما شنونده صدای اونها هم باشیم در مورد صلح و اونها را هم با خود هم صدا و هم گام بکنیم تا مثل من و شما اونها هم طعم تحصیل را، طعم امکانات را، طعم معنای احترام و حقوق بشر را به اونها هم بیاموزیم. بدون شک که تا حالا این هموطنان ما محروم بودن. پس اگر صحبت‌های ما طولانی نشود، اینمی هست تمام چند، اما حداقل به عنوان یک کسی که مأمور صلح هستم، 8 کشور جهان را پروسه جنگ و صلحشون مطالعه کردیم. بارها بوده که در این کشورها مذاکرات صلحشون حتی به بنبست خورده، ترک کردن میز گفتگوها را، اما دوباره برگشتن. پس شیوهی که حالا هم در دوحه بین دو تیم افغانی وجود داره، بحث این هست که حوصله، توانمندی، حمایت از تیم باید توسط مردم افغانستان صورت بگیره و روابط دوامدار، مشورت هایشان مردم افغانستان باید با دو تیم شریک بسازن. این از طریق وزارت صلح یکی از گزینه‌هایی است که کار را انجام میده. و در نهایت بسیج عمومی، به خاطری که ما مالک از صلح تا خود را تصور نکنیم و نباشیم، ما صلح واقعی، پایدار، عدالت محور را که صلح اجتماعی میشه ما شاهد نخواهیم بود. تشکر.
و در قسمت آزادسازی زندانیان،
آزادسازی زندانیان، خواهر نازنین، ما فقط میخواد میتونم بگم در قسمت 5000 زندانی که بود، شما دیدین که خصوصا 400 زندانی که گفتن زندانی هایی بودن که حملات خونبار را بر علیه مردم افغانستان انجام داده بودن، اما شما دیدین دولت افغانستان جرگه مشورتی صلح را برگزار کرد و به نوعی اما مردم افغانستان که خسته از جنگ هستند، امیر گفتن که زندانی ها آزاد شوند، ولی باید خشونت ها توقف پیدا کنه، باید مذاکرات آغاز شود و قبل از مذاکرات آتش بس سرتاسری اعلان شود. و ما شما امیر میخواهیم که این فشارها بر روی دو جانب باید باشه. شما که امروز از دولتتان، از من حیث هموطن و مأمور خدمتگزارتان در دولت سوال میکنید، ما میخواهیم که این سوال ها را از هیئت طالبان هم شما بپرسین، از رهبری طالبان هم بپرسین، از ایالات متحده آمریکا باید بپرسیم که چرا طالبان بر 4 مواردی که در بین ایالات متحده آمریکا و طالبان در دوحه توافقنامه‌شان امضا شده چرا رعایت نمیشه. دولت افغانستان با حسن نیت زندانی ها را رها کرد و اونها تعهد داده بودند که باید سربازانشان به جبهه جنگ بر نگردن، اما شما متاسفانه و همه ما میبینیم که اون اسناد وجود داره که به جبهه جنگ برگشتن و اینجا ملت هست که باید صدایتان رو بلند کنید، باید دادخواهی بکنیم که واقعاً خشونت توقف پیدا کنه، آتش بس اعلان شود و طالبان به تعهدات خودشان باید متحد و پایدار باشن. سکوت چاره کار نیست. من میخوایم بگم باید همه بسیج شویم و صدایمان را بلند کنیم تا این جنگ انشالله نقطه پایان برش گذاشته شود.
سلامت باشه جهان،
زنده باشه.
شما.
Thank you so much, Laila Jafari, Safai Saib, as well as Shoaib Ibrahim, and our respected audience for your active participations. Thank you once again, and see you. Looking forward to see you in our next sessions and webinar. Thank you.
Have a great evening. Bye bye.
تشکر از شما. شام خوب و خوش داشته باشین. خدا نگهدارتون.
Yeah,
thank you so much.